Welcome to Round Glass. I'm Miriam Parker, and I am overjoyed to be guiding you in today's session on self-care. It is such a joy to share with you my contemplations on how to self-care. The practice of this meditation can be accessed off the cushion. And so in today's meditation, I will guide you in a day in the life of doing just that. So I don't have just a question for you. I have more of a contemplation, a thought I would like to offer you to chew on. And this thought is, what would it feel like if you could practice seeing others as a resource instead of ... whatever that means for you. And I thought about this as a reflection because that was really what this practice, traditionally in Buddhism, you'd say tonglen, this practice of taking care of yourself through caring for others, is a practice of really relocating how you see others. And it's like as though you're walking down the street and you see other people, and it's almost like you're looking into a medicine cabinet and saying, oh, well, there's all, or rather maybe a medicine cabinet's not the best image. Maybe it's more like the best health food store ever with all of the perfect tonics to address whatever's going on. Instead of how I many times see walking down the street, which is like, how do I navigate against these people? How do I keep them away? So, meditation has been a really critical part of my healing. It has offered me something that I hope it offers you, which is a sense of autonomy, a sense that your healing and the richest resource of caring for yourself is something that you can have anytime, no matter what economic situation you are, no matter what location you are, that you have access to it. And that self-care has nothing to do with fancy soaps or vitamins. How can it be an active part of healing? And how can your meditation be an active part of healing for others? So when I want to engage with my practice really mindfully around my practice as self-care, I say that to myself. So I say, I know that self-care is so important. And when I'm taking care of myself, I know that I'm moving towards happiness. My meditation practice is one way in which I activate that self-care. But it's not enough to do 20 minutes of self-care and be like, all right, I've done my self-care, and then I go on to the outside. So how do I move my mind into the cushion onto the outside world? And the thing is that our meditation, specifically the one we're practicing today, is really a practice in which we're rolling our mind along a washboard of understandings. And an understandings that might feel complex. So the repetition and the practice of returning to this washboard of understandings is really critical. So in this meditation, we'll guide you in a walkthrough of what it might feel like to take this practice off the cushion. Because what you can do when you're out and about is keep that mind. Try to practice returning to that mind that we're practicing connecting to. Returning to activating that main frame, right? So before we enter, I want to talk a little bit about what are those ideas? What are these complex ideas that we're going to be questioning? And the first one is really, really important. What does successful self-care look like for you? So successful self-care practices feel like you're full, whole, and you have the capability to share and be generous with others. And then the second idea that we think about is the question of the nature of self and other. Because we all know that the way we behave towards the world around us reflects on how we experience the self, right? So if I change the way I relate to others, it will shift the way I relate to myself. Now, this is something we have to contemplate because it's not always instinctful. There's such an obvious separation between me and you. But the mechanics of how I experience myself is very much based on the practice of how I relate to other people. So the third question is, what is the cause of our health and happiness? And I think in this practice, we get to practice the cause of your self-care, your sense of wholeness is taking care of others. But how do we do that? We do that by placing our body in this armor of wholeness and then imagining what it's like to be that generous person, moving, speaking, and thinking through a sense of fullness. And so, in essence, this is what the practice is. So, I invite you all to sit in this beautiful, majestic seat that is super unique to you, whether it is lying down, whether it's sitting on a chair, whether it's sitting cross-legged. I invite you into your own practice. It's not a performance. It is an experience that is waiting for you. And we're going to care for ourselves. We're going to go through all those steps. So find a posture that feels grateful. How grateful I am to have this time. Let's start with that. Just that thought. And I'll be guiding you the whole way through. But I want you to start with gratitude. Because if I could offer you anything, it is a reminder that you have the resources you need right now. No matter how you're arriving to the cushion, whether it's sleepy, whether it's a little bit overcharged, whatever it is, your practice is available to you. And that's a promise. So find the ease in knowing that as you sit down, it's almost like you're sitting down into your favorite chair and it's just enveloping you. And instead, you're sitting down into your breath and it's enveloping you. I'm home now. Imagine that your seat is fastened to the earth, aligning yourself with the resource of a really strong foundation and ground that will hold you in the next 15 minutes. So settle in. Your meditation has been waiting for you. See if there is any more availability within your hips and legs to release. A little bit more, a little bit more. Releasing the hips and legs. Once you feel nice and grounded, I want you to take a deep breath. Expanding the lungs extra large. And then exhale all the air out as though you're blowing up a balloon. Releasing the tension. Your practice is a practice of self-care. As you tune your mind, the mind brightens up. As you begin to focus and draw the mind to pay attention to the sensation of the relaxation around the face, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the lips, tongue, the jaw. Your mind gets brighter. Feel the space between your eyebrows broaden, inviting light into your meditation. Inviting awareness into your body to feel and to experience some of the more subtle goings on within you might not have noticed before. This attention, this mindful admiration of your body settling into its home is a way of caring. So check in with the throat. I see you, I feel you, throat. Remember all the work you have done, the swallowing, the speaking, being so kind as to be the home for the bottom of my tongue. Feel the wetness in your mouth. Maybe swallow. Acknowledge the shoulders. Acknowledge the arms and the weight that the arms have carried. Acknowledge the breath, the way it does what it needs to for your whole system without ever stopping, without ever needing a prompt. It just breathes. It is breathing you. the belly, the lower back. Thank you, legs, for keeping me connected to the earth. Acknowledge that this is a practice of self-care, and we're going to do this by placing our body, armoring our physical body and our mind with our image of optimal health. Begin to imagine that your body is really expansive and a part of the environment in your house, wherever you're doing this practice. Begin to look inward and feel that the body is this traveling temple. And spacious inside. And then picture the space behind your sternum closer to the back of your body. And I want you to begin to bring to mind your own wish for a type of love that is expansive and overflowing, the type of love that has the freedom and strength to see beauty all the time. What does the perfect heart feel like to you? And as you begin to imagine having that heart inside this temple, picture it growing like a beautiful plush rose. Each characteristic, the quality of loving without needing anything in return, the quality of excitement to be kind in simple ways, the quality of an abundant heart that sees another in pain and sees that pain as your own. A fullness of love that takes on a manifesto that if we are not all free, then we are not free. This is your heart now. And above your heart is a symbol of wisdom. Wisdom is this knowledge that we all have, sometimes hidden, but it's the knowledge that everything changes, and therefore there is room for growth and change. And it's in the form of a diamond. And I want you to imagine you're leaving your house to regular errand. Maybe it's walking your dog or going to the groceries. Something perhaps you know you will do in the near future. And imagine that you see an old friend and they look great. I want you to see them as a resource, as an extension of you, not separate. And as you inhale, you feel your heart opening and you're pulling any doubt from their body that they are beautiful. Transforming it with this wisdom, sharp diamond, knowing that their ideas of self are not coming from the object, but just a mental image that can change. And as you draw any self-doubt from your friend, know that you're planting a seed in your own heart to see your self-image shift. And then you keep walking and you see a being that is angry and frustrated. Perhaps they're frustrated at their boss or whatever the scenario is. And there's this almost spark in your heart thinking, oh, this is a resource. So when I get angry, transform it. So I want to take away their anger. Breathing in that dark smoke of anger, seeing it pierced by the diamond and transform into white smoke, exhaling, offering them relief. And know that you've planted a seed in your heart to see yourself overcome anger. And then you walk and you see a person who looks lonely. Maybe they're even homeless and their fragrance is not the best. And instead of walking away from them, you remember your own moments of loneliness, of feeling like nobody wants to be near you. And you imagine the fragrance, the darkness of loneliness, like black smoke, and you breathe it in, seeing it pierce the diamond. Exhale, a transformed sense of mind, a new mental image. And know that you've planted a seed in your heart. Against that sense of loneliness, replaced with a feeling of connectedness. And then you arrive back to your house, come back into your seat. Remember the people that you've touched. Rejoice. And you dedicate it. You see those 3 seeds you've planted in your heart. And you dedicate it. May it be of resource to you in your self-care and your happiness journey and to your community. Deepen your breath. Slowly move from the inside world and just place a hand on your chest, just pressing down and in. Slowly recovering, coming back into the space. Thank you so much for this practice. Sharing the practice with you is my joy. So, how do we take this off the cushion? It's so important. Only 20 minutes on the cushion, 23 hours and 40 minutes off. So the way I like to practice is I don't think always of the diamond and the rose, but I do think about how I see other people. And I see it as an opportunity to reach out and see that their happiness and their health is an extension of my mind. And how I relate to them is going to create a seed in my heart. And that's how I take this off the cushion, is shifting my experience of others is something I want to push away or I want to bring close to me. And seeing them as a resource to my self-care and their happiness. I hope that this was of some use and resource for you, and I very much hope that you play with it. Try it out, not just once, a couple of times. Thank you very much for coming back home into your practice and remembering that the resource of meditation, this practice that is a practice of self-care, is something that is always available to you. And when you start taking it off the cushion, it's really when you can start to share the practice with others, and that's when it starts to build. So I invite you to try it, please. Thank you so much for sharing this very sacred time together. And please continue to explore, be playful and curious, deepen your meditation practice. And check us out daily for live meditations at round.glass or any of our social media platforms. Thank you all for your practice. Over and out. Till next time. Thank you.